it was not correct to ban Donald Trump. I think that was a mistake. I think it was a morally bad decision, to be clear, and foolish in the extreme. It alienated a large part of the country and did not ultimately result in Donald Trump not having a voice. He is now going to be on Truth Social, as will a large part of the right in the United States, and so I think this could end up being, frankly, worse.
Portnoy is calling on Elon Musk to get rid of bots if and when he finally buys Twitter. Elon Musk replied, he says, "I have a plan." Dave Portnoy is with me now.
Twitter is becoming unusable. Anybody who's been using it recently, it's just filled with spam, bots. It's a debacle.
Ye West is buying Parler. Trump's got Truth Social. Musk will probably take over Twitter. Where's free speech headed in America these days?
Well, I guess you can look at either way. I mean, they're all buying it for the different platforms because they think they got regulated a little bit on it. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It's always a fine line in the sand with any of that stuff. Who gets to decide what's over the line? Twitter has plenty of examples of really bad people who don't get banned, and then they'll kick Trump off. Yeah. And I don't care who you feel on either of them, but who gets to make that decision? And the truth of the matter is, technology is now like freedom of the press, but they're privately owned. So it's a slippery slope.
Constitution vet Ben, long time no see.
I know, right? Good morning.
Good morning, sir. It's earlier in the morning for me than for you. Your morning only has like an hour and a half left in it or something. What time is it?
Well, the moment I wake up, it's still considered morning, even if it's like 1 p.m.
True. All right, let's not do this banter. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the chat session with Constitution Vet and myself, Michael. I'm going to let you go first. Tell me what's going on here.
I can go first?
Yes.
Wow, I am honored. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay, well, here we go. Okay.
Hurry up, because if you're not going to talk, I'm going to jump on.
So the channel that I get my daily news from is Dr. Steve Turley, and he did a wonderful analysis over all of this. So as of, a couple days ago.
Good morning, Jacqueline, by the way, in the comment section. You guys comment. Good morning.
As of a couple days ago, Elon Musk has officially controlled Twitter. So it's going to
wait. Say that again.
So the past couple days ago, Twitter has officially surrendered to Elon Musk. That
was that the freezing of the stock, right? The freezing of the stock sales or something like that. Yeah. That was the big clue.
And the $40 billion deal went through, and within any moment, Elon Musk will have full control over Twitter.
It's a foregone conclusion now.
Yeah. And this is obviously huge. I can go into different directions. The idea I was going to go for is the virtual town square analogy. And just to reinforce the fact that this virtual town square, it used to be a place where people from all views, all backgrounds can have a civil discourse. And as long as you don't violate any federal laws,
right, you don't commit crimes.
Yeah, and you can say whatever you want. Cool, okay, fine. And if there's any drama, then that drama is taken care of by the people engaged in that conversation. But the problem over the past couple of years is that big tech has been silencing people that they don't like.
Policing.
If you dare question the narrative, if you dare challenge anyone in power, then you were blacklisted. You were canceled. It's the modern day McCarthyism, modern day Red Scare.
Pravda. Like Twitter/Pravda.
And so with this recent victory by Elon Musk, it shows that the virtual town square is becoming more free and open to everyone again. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying I love Elon Musk, but I can't help but respect the guy. He's playing their game. So when people say, oh, they're a private company, they can do whatever they want, Elon Musk is like, okay, fine, I'll just buy you then. you can't do that. No, you can. So that's where we're headed, ladies and gentlemen. We are headed towards a more free town square where you can share your honest views.
There are some radical things happening, right, in our world. And I'm glad you threw that caveat out there. I'm not saying I love Elon Musk. Okay. You know, we have people that we highly regard and highly respect, you know, in general, that believe wrong things, crazy things. Like, you know, I'm mistaken about any number of things. People like me, and even if I'm mistaken about stuff, or, you know, you're mistaken about any number of things that you don't even know you're mistaken about, yet you can agree with, you know, in general. So Elon Musk is doing really important things, really significant things, and he's put in his position by God, right? This is not, God wasn't surprised that Elon Musk was the richest man in the world, right? It's like
Right.
all of the people in at positions of power are not there as much as they may believe it. They're not there of their own devices, right? It is God in control. Yes, we have free will, and God knew that these people's giftings would allow them to rise, and that their predilections or their you know, instincts or their creativity or something would affect them. And lo and behold, the richest man in the world is a free speech champion, right? He's like, I think, you know, and maybe he hasn't always been that way, but he's come, and that's one of the, you know, you can give fodder to the enemy. You can look into anybody's past or into anybody's present, into anybody's, you know, these are my beliefs. They're going to pick one and drill home on that one to try and besmirch you. But what's happening right now is a sea change, right? This is as fundamental as the 2016 election, I would say. I would put it up there with the 2016 election. You had the first time in history since the beginning, a non-politician taking the highest office. Right? That was the first time in history a non-politician the seat of power, the most powerful position on the planet in the history of humankind, right? And that was a sea change. That's something that will never be undone. It changed history forever for the better, right? And I often refer to it as like the veneer has been cracked forever, because you can't fix a crack. You know, I mean, there may be this specialist that can fix your windshield if it's cracked, and it may look like there's no crack there, but a crack in glass is not something that goes away. It just gets worse and worse and worse. And that's like, Donald Trump was this rock that smashed the veneer of the deep state, the veneer of the fourth estate, right? And so this is a similar thing. Like, we're seeing groundbreaking things, and there's a lot of people like, oh, it's too far gone. Everything, you know, the world is too far gone. That the end is coming, and it's all cataclysmic, and Armageddon is on the horizon. Joe Biden was right when he said that. And like, I'm not in that camp. I don't believe it one bit. I believe God's plan is not to bring, okay, I'm not going to go in that direction. But with Twitter, right? Twitter is not, you know, it's not like one of many like things. It's a singular thing. It's like there is nothing else like Twitter, and there can't be. It is the public square that drives the narrative at the highest levels of government.
That's it. Right? That's the biggest point.
It drives the narrative. It's like it's this cesspool, because they control it, and they realize it's a tool, it's powerful, and they're like, the government is reaching out to Twitter saying, make sure that person is not on your platform. Make sure that the government is interfering with a private business and using it as a tool. That has now ended. That is a paradigm shift. It's like Roe versus Wade being being overturned, right? These are seminal moments in history that we're living through, and people can't see the future of the repercussions. They think, oh, something else will blah blah blah. It's like, no, you can't just replace Twitter. You can't say, well, now that the conservatives and the free speech people have control of Twitter, let's take our other Twitter and use that. Like, what? You got to invent some other thing that's suddenly the biggest. You know, you can't. And carries with me. Good. So it's exciting, and terrifying, just like a roller coaster,
Mhm.
right? It's like we've been going through some ups and downs and ups and downs, and right now we are at, we're at a, I don't know if we're on a down or an up, because geopolitically and economically we're on a downward trajectory, right? Like our economy is in bad shape, and we're going to win in the midterms, yet the economy is still going to go south for a while. But and that's not what our topic is today.
Well, here's the thing, Michael. When the virtual town square is reopened for an exchange of all ideas, that can improve the economy. That virtual town square connects to every corner of this virtual village. When you only allow certain viewpoints, what does that do? It creates a chain reaction so that only certain things are allowed to get through. Well, guess what? That then affects certain areas of that virtual village. But when you open it to everyone, you have that free exchange, that open communication. And as we've known throughout human history, like with the Silk Road, that trade network wasn't just the exchange of goods. It was the exchange of ideas, beliefs, cultures. There is a reason why you had examples of Romans making contact with Chinese. That was because of the Silk Road. So again, this reconquest of Twitter in the name of free speech is going to have global impact, not just national, global, because Twitter is a global brand.
right.
And so, and this kind of goes back. This goes back to the Texas law, which is a law which prohibits social media from silencing, different viewpoints. When you view these virtual town squares as public utilities instead of just another private company, it changes the whole dynamic. And so I'm very interested to see what takes place in the next few months when it comes to online free speech.
So did you hear this number? I don't know if you have or not, so I don't know if you can verify this. So I heard previously that once Elon has complete control or the reins and is able to, it takes them private and is able to start implementing things, that there are going to be layoffs. And somebody was saying at least 25% of the Twitter workforce. Well, I saw a headline that said 75%. That he was going to really streamline Twitter, and that I'm actually, you can streamline, but I forget who it was. Maybe it was Steve Turley or somebody saying, when you're in a culture like Twitter, you can guarantee there's a bunch of snowflakes there that are not there going to work every day, working real hard, making sure they get in a good, efficient, productive 8 hours a day, 40-hour week. They're there. It's a different environment to work in the tech world, where a lot of them, they're able to take these furlough times, or this like, oh, I've been offended and I have to recover and I have to heal, and right, they cater to a lot of the just mental health issues that people will capitalize on and just collect a paycheck and not do anything. So I think Twitter is way inefficient. Like, as far as being a productive work environment, I think it's just a culture of inefficiency. And that's probably one thing that he's looking at from the business side, is he's like, all right, what do you do? And what do you do? And it's like taking an assessment of everybody's job description in the company and going, well, this whole department can be removed, and these people, we can probably do that same job with 1/10 of the workforce, blah, blah, blah. So he's just doing like a good businessman.
It's going to be Office Space. It's going to be Office Space all over again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What do you actually do here?
Well, have you ever, that show, The Jetsons?
Yes.
So, it's a projection of what the future, is going to be like. And and do you know what George Jetson, the father, you know what his work week entailed?
No.
You know how an hour a week. he had to show up for work an hour a week. I did a little bit of research on it for something else. I'm like, oh, so in the future, everything's going to be so efficient and technologically, machines are going to take care of everything. The human factor will just be an hour of input a week will help the world continue to run. Well, that's not reality.
No.
And Elon Musk is going to be trimming the fat. But what about, so I think Elon posted, I think it was on Twitter, a meme of him, Donald Trump, and Kanye.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yes. It was like the Three Musketeers. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And so it's like the three billionaires owning free speech now.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Kanye West, but again, regardless of how I feel about the guy, I can't help but agree with that meme. It's like you have these private individuals taking over and opening these virtual town squares. And and here's the thing, it's not like the Soviet Union where they only allow certain viewpoints. No. It's open to everyone. Now, of course, if you read articles on the other side about people complaining and crying about this, they can say, well, more extremist views can come online now. We can't allow that. Okay, well, what are extremist views? Please tell me, what are considered extremist views? Because last time I checked, was it definitely at least last year, after the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan, guess which organization had an account on Twitter?
The Taliban and there's a bunch of those terrorist organizations, right? Yeah.
Also, those are okay to be open.
Yeah,
but not
genocidal governments, governments.
People who actually slaughter innocent people. Well, those are okay.
And that's
anyone
not
who dares question the choosing of 2020. Oh no, we can't have that.
Yeah, right. Free speech, because in 2016, all the Democrats were saying those same phrases, what they call now the big lie. Right. In 2016, all the Democrats are going, oh, this election, something, blah, blah, blah. Right. They're using the words that we can't use now. Right.
Of course.
The 5-letter F word and stuff like that. It was, I got to be careful. Well, okay. So let's talk about free speech and what that means, because, there is a tendency for us when the legacy media, like the loudest barking, fear-mongering dogs, spout a narrative. Well, we must regulate, or what is it? We moderate, right? We have to moderate content. Well, that doesn't sound like moderating content. Just sounds like a job a tech guy would do, but that's actually called censorship, right? Moderating content is what Pravda from the Soviet Union, right? It's like they moderate content, right? In other words, if you disagree with the official narrative, you will be moderated right into a prison cell for the rest of your life. You will be moderated out of the public square. So those terms, right? Those seemingly innocuous terms, when they control the language, that's how control happens, when you control the language. And so free speech, why is free speech the death knell for leftism? It's because you are able now to identify the crazies, right? Because the crazies will say crazy things. You can praise that radical genocidal maniac from World War II. You can actually praise him and worship him freely and say he was a good guy and you should all do that and he was right. You can say that openly when you have free speech now, because when you moderate content, none of that stuff is allowed. But now when you hear people doing that, the fear is, oh, people will be attracted to that message and their message will grow. It's like, no, people will look at that and go, that guy's crazy. I know he's crazy. And if he wasn't allowed to say that, I wouldn't know he's crazy. I wouldn't know to avoid him. Free speech gives you the freedom to see who's really who and who to avoid, who to shun. And so it's the public square that moderates the radical views, not some totalitarian from the top moderating.
Right. And the great irony to all of this is when you open that town square to everyone, it does give the power back to the people. Because guess who's in charge of moderating the content? It's the people engaged in the conversation.
What is that great document that starts with "We the People"?
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's like the Constitution.
Oh,
I think. But here's what's even more interesting. I've covered this in my government classes. If you actually read the Constitution of our country, the word censorship is nowhere in it. It doesn't exist, right? But in other countries, it does. In other countries, it makes it very clear censorship shall be prohibited. Very clear. And it's random countries: Japan, Ethiopia, and Russia all have the same phrase: censorship shall be prohibited. It's fascinating. And so for the longest time, I'm assuming these big tech platforms use that as like a loophole. They use that omission from the Constitution as a loophole, say, "Oh, well, we can censor people. We're not part of Congress. It's fine. It's fine." But again, when you are so big that you are a global utility, then that private business argument goes out the window.
Right. Oh, yes. And that's, is it the law that was, I think we talked about this, the law that was passed by, or a ruling that was made in the Fifth Circuit Court saying like 50 million employees or subscribers. It was like, if you have more than 50 million subscribers, you are a public utility. Basically, that's what the decision was, right?
Yeah.
And
As
I
of
think
now, that law has been upheld by the Fifth Circuit Court for Texas.
And so what does that mean? A public utility? You're not a private company. And so there was this moment in history, I don't know when it was, when transnational corporations became more powerful and more influential than governments, right? Than sovereign nations, even the United States. You know, ironically, most of those transnational corporations sprung to life in this free nation because of the freedoms we allow. People have been allowed to think creatively outside the box and try things that would be prohibited and regulated out of existence in other systems. So it's, the proof is in the pudding. Where's all the advancements coming from? And I mean, this is the argument also for Christianity is, and I don't know if it was you who mentioned this, but I think it may have been you in a conversation we had before, saying when you go through all of the, when you make a list of the names of great people who've accomplished incredible things through history, right? The scientists and discoverers and adventurers, and the vast majority of them are Christian, right? It's like, something about this system that considers you an important person as an individual, right? You as an individual have value and your opinion matters. You shouldn't be, you should have the freedom to speak openly and act openly. Something about that's Christianity. It pushes progress, right? We are smarter and better in every way now, but it also allows for evil. And so it depends upon the good triumphing over evil. And that's happening. I mean, Elon Musk is a tool for good triumphing over evil, right? And who's going to stop him? Who's going to stop Elon Musk?
And it's funny they mention that, because ultimately all this boils back down to one distinction. Is this a world that you want to have the focus of being on the individual or the collective? And that's the difference. The Marxist world, the world of the atheistic view, is the world of the collective, where your individual views no longer apply. It's, we're all in this together. That's the Marxist collective view. But when you create a world that says to everyone, hey, each of you is an individual. Each of you has your own world, your own views, your own life, your own choices. That's the difference. Now, what you do with those choices, that's up to you, right? But yeah, that's the distinction that I think really is what all this boils down to.
Now, but the word censorship, so like certain words have pejorative connotation, right? So we say censorship and everybody immediately thinks bad, that's wrong. But you have to censor certain things, right? As we said at the beginning, as long as you're not promoting crime or you're not committing crime or promoting crime, you have to censor, right? So
if there's an actual law,
right. Oh my God. my lord, William Archibald, has arrived.
Well, good morning, sir.
I didn't mean to refer to William Archibald as my God and my Lord. I was like, oops, did I really just say, oh my God? Because I don't ever use that.
All hail William Archibald.
Hey, William. He comes in at the tail end here and distracts us. All right, William, we're talking free speech. So, what's up, Ben? That's free speech. Looks like Bean in the comments. Ben, so I want to get back to the topic real quick, but so I don't know if it was communicated to you by Gina, but once a month you have a break. I know you took 2 weeks off because you had to do something 2 weeks ago, and then last week I said, "Oh, I have somebody else." So, but once a month, it's going to be the second Friday of the month. You have a break because I have my friend Jeff. Are you aware of that episode? So I have a
Not
friend
the episode, but Gina told me about what the plan is.
So I have this friend who's an astrophysicist. He works at UCLA. He's searching for dark matter, and the project he's working on could win a Nobel Prize eventually in physics, etc. And so he's a serious, very serious person, and he's a Bible believing Christian who believes that Jesus Christ rose from the dead. Right, so he's kind of a conundrum for the academic or the scientific community.
Wait, you can't do that.
And he and I have great dialogue. He's obviously an expert in his field, and I have, my interests overlap significantly with his expertise, and vice versa. I work in the entertainment industry, and so he's interested in my perspective on things, and we both love Jesus, so we have that in common. And so
man, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we have done a show, and it's on YouTube. It has its own channel. I'm not putting stuff there now, but there's like 12 to 15 videos of Jeff and I, half-an-hour conversations talking about all kinds of stuff. It's called Jeff and Mike on YouTube, or Jeff and Mike channel, or something like that. But I'm bringing Jeff and Mike to the Friday chat session once a month. So it's the second Friday of the month. You will have a break, and I will not. And Jeff will come in. All right, there. Commercial over. So Twitter Parler was the #1 app in the App Store until it got taken down, or attacked and deconstructed by the forces that be. And I was on Parler, knowing that was coming, and I was like, I'm going to get on this and I'm going to start using it and see what happens. And then there was this time that's like, it's at midnight tonight, Parler's going away. And so I was like on it, watching, and it was like 12:06. It was like 6 minutes after, and then it was gone. So I had that experience. So Kanye buys Parler, but Parler at that time was the #1 seller, or #1 at the top of the download list on the app stores. And then Truth Social now, just recently, was the #1 at the App Store. And so it is in demand, these platforms, and it just bodes well for the future. There are people that are spouting doom and gloom, and I keep seeing these signs that are like, whoa, Donald Trump was elected president. He has started the biggest political movement in history. Or I don't know he wasn't trying to start it. It just happened by his mere existence, right? That's what Steve Turley says. He's like, MAGA is the biggest political movement actually, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't Steve Turley. It was, Victor Davis Hanson. I think I heard him say that. Okay. But it's true. It's like you've got 70, 80 million voting age patriots, and then you have all those people that are not voting age, the younger ones coming up. We're in the middle of radical cultural transformation in the right direction, I believe. I'll let you comment for the last 40 seconds.
I agree. And I have a big, huge hope for the next generation, because all the students I've taught since 2018 are critical thinkers. They can think for themselves. So I'm not just going to blindly accept what's being told. No, they're renegades. They're mavericks. That's who we need. People who will think for themselves, who will challenge people and say, hey, I don't know about that. Let's talk about it. That's what we need.
Getting back to my friend Jeff, the astrophysicist, he says, no breakthroughs in science ever happened by general consensus. None of the most radical transformations in discovery it was the majority saying, let's do this. It was some minority viewpoint that ended up changing everything.
Yep.
And that's what's happening right now. Good to see you, my friend. See you next week. Bye, everybody.